everyone. Welcome to a live on the benefits of clove essential oil. I'm Dr. Helene. I'm being nudged by the Bams here. So let me just show Bambi off to the guys on Facebook. My co-host, who's not being a silent co-host tonight. He obviously wants to get a few words in about clove oil, actually. So hi Asha, how are you? My day has been great, thank you. Busy but great. Thank you for all the likes, I appreciate it. How has your day been? Let me know where you're joining from. If you're watching live, let me know who's here and how things are going. So clove oil. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Dr. Helene. I'm an emergency medicine doctor, and I'm also a certified animal aromatherapy specialist. And I love to use an integrative approach to health and wellness, use the best of traditional and conventional medicine, and to have a really nice sort of holistic approach. So clove oil. Now, I think it's really easy to forget about clove oil as being something that's super beneficial, but it actually is. And as I was writing this evening, and I was actually writing a blog, which you can, it will be on my blog, which if you go to thehealthfuldoctor.com/blog, you'll get some of the recipes there as well. There's pictures. As I was writing it, I was like, oh yeah, and I'd forgotten all these things that you can actually do with clove oil, because it's actually a natural elixir. It's a pretty much all-round good guy to help your health and wellness, and we do forget about it. Now, clove oil actually comes from the bud prior to blossoming. So the clove tree is an evergreen, and initially the flowers have a pale hue, and eventually they turn green, and then they are harvested when they actually turn red. Now, clove oil is actually one of the most potent, or the most potent plant in the plant kingdom that has the richest level of antioxidants. It's quite phenomenal. So they are really needed to support our bodies and keep it in balance. Now, it's not just the body that it's useful for. It's also very good for emotional health as well. It's very good of clearing what we don't want and bringing in what we do want. So it is actually a very clarifying oil, both physically and emotionally, which I think is pretty awesome. Just having to stroke Bambi here loads because he's just going to bark, and he's had his tea as well. So clove oil actually contains very high levels of eugenol. Okay, so you do need to be mindful about pets, and that is often implicated when there's been cases of toxicity in our companion animals, but it can be used successfully, and it really is. And what's been found in most cases of toxicity, it's actually been to do with either poor quality oils or synthetic constituents being used, and inappropriate use is really important to be mindful of it. So using it correctly, and also diluting it, because it is a hot oil, and that goes for you humans as well as animals, because it is a hot oil. And so what that means is that it can actually it can kind of burn the skin, so it can irritate the skin because it's a hot oil. So you do need to dilute it more than if you were just diluting it, and not something like lavender. So it's really, so with lavender you could use a 1-to-1 dilution. With something like a hot oil, it would be a 3-to-1. So 1 drop, 3 drops of fractionated coconut oil to 1 drop of clove oil. If you are using it with pets, I wouldn't go above, either with the smaller animals, a 0.25% dilution, and for my dogs I would only be using a 1% dilution, so depending on the size of your animal. But that's all the safety bit. It's got a variety of health benefits. So it's great for everything to do with the skin and supporting the immune system. Now, it's probably best well known for support of our teeth and our gums, and it's got great cleansing properties. And it's really interesting because pretty much, I think it's probably the only oil, maybe lavender as well, but it's probably the only other oil where I think everyone, whether you are interested in holistic medicine or you are not, it's been promoted as being beneficial for health. So frequently, dentists will suggest it for dental health. When I've seen patients that have got dental issues, they're like, "Oh yeah, clove oil. I've been using that," and so I think that's quite interesting. It really does have so many benefits. So really easy little mouthwash to use is just 1 drop of clove oil to a 1/4 cup of water and just swirl that around your mouth. Or you can just pop a drop on your toothbrush and with your toothpaste and just give your mouth a clean. Now it is hot and it is something that you get used to. You do need to do, I would probably just start with it very dilute and then work up. But it literally makes your mouth feel amazing and it's really, really cleansing there. Now, it's also very good for supporting the gastrointestinal tract as well. So you can add it into a capsule with food, with something like olive oil if it's for yourself, because it's very good for cleansing the tract, but also supporting metabolic processes as well. And also, pesky parasites don't like it much. So it's very good for repelling and keeping our gut clean. So this is where it comes in useful for the little doggies as well, or humans, because I do see we do see humans that are having parasites. And I would just mix it in with food for a few days. Now with the dogs, I'm often talking about worm counting. Don't treat with the chemicals for worms, because worming your dog is not prevention. Does anyone know that or not know that? Because it's something that's always suggested, worm every 3 months, but in actual fact, you are wasting your money because worming is not prevention. It is a treatment. And if you, and it's completely unnecessary and it's filling your dog up with loads of toxic chemicals. So the simple thing is to actually send off stool samples. And I use a company called FECLAB, FECLAB.co.uk. You send off a little stool sample and they come back and tell you whether or not your dog has got worms. Prior to that, I tend to use a couple of drops of oil in the food for maybe just a couple of days. Clove would be one of them, to just give that gut a really good cleanse. Other things that you can use as well for long-term prevention are things like ground up pumpkin seeds or pumpkin with the skin on. I like to give my dog some watermelon rind and things like that. So that's all really, really good for cleansing that gut. Now, obviously, for the humans, you're not necessarily going to do that. And hopefully you haven't got worms. But, it does happen, especially with things like, undercooked meat and things like that. It does happen. So this is really good. But it's important with anything like that is I would do that. And then I would send off another stool sample. So if you're a human, you'd have another stool sample. For dogs, another one as well. To just see. And then if that hasn't helped, then then start with your worm prevention and things like that, your worming tablets or your human your human equivalent. Now it's also very, very beneficial for the cardiovascular system, clove oil as well. So you can take this internally in a capsule, 1 to 3 drops 2 to 3 times a day. But the things that benefit the cardiovascular system are also things that can hinder it as well. I'm just going to open my window. There you go. That can hinder it as well. And so it's really important to be mindful of that. So if you have got a tendency to be bleeding, or you're taking any anticoagulants, or you are going in for surgery, you need to avoid clove oil internally, okay? Because it could promote bleeding. And so avoid it for at least 3 days pre-surgery. And I'd probably do 3 days post or longer, depending on what is going on. Because often patients, when they're post-surgery, are given anticoagulants, so little injection or something like that. So just be mindful of that. Now, clove oil is very, very useful to diffuse around the home. It's great for supporting the immune system and seasonal and environmental threats. So again, be careful because it's a hot oil if you're diffusing it around your pets, because it can be irritating their eyes and things like that. So very, very dilute. And if you pop to my blog, which is www.thehealthfuldoctor.com/ blog, which is my human one, you will see I've got some recipes in there and you can access those. And you can either pop to the link in my bio if you're watching on TikTok, or I should just put it on the screen actually below if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. So if you go to here, and then you can go to the blog bit. And I'm just going to give you, just before I get on to the next bit, there's a very good, let me just show you if you're on Facebook, and I will just go through some little ways here. So some top ways to use clove oil. Clove oil is the best thing. I know, Pappy. Clove oil is very easy to be absorbed into the body. Any oil is absorbed because our cells have a lipid membrane, and so it doesn't need to be digested or anything like that. So put 2 drops in an empty veggie capsule to maintain a healthy immune system. You can make a non-toxic cleaning spray, and I'm going to explain about that in a minute. Add 15 drops to an 8-ounce spray bottle and fill with water. A really nice little snack is to soak sliced apples in water and a few drops for a healthy immune boosting snack. I'm having to give Bambi a lot of massaging here. Place 1 drop in hot water or tea with a little bit of honey or plant-based syrup and drink slowly to soothe an irritated throat. That's what I need to do. Use internally to promote a healthy metabolic function. So again, 2 drops in a veggie capsule. Diffuse with wild orange. It is amazing. It smells so good there. It really does. Add to your DIY insect repellents. You can add it to your favorite baking recipes as well instead of clove. Yes. And combine it with lemon and gargles. So and dilute with a carrier oil to create a warming massage for cold and achy joints during winter time. So, and one more thing about clove, because obviously I mentioned that cleaning spray. It's really good for killing mold. And in actual fact, if you look at anything up about mold and clove, let me get Bambi up. I think people want to see you. There's the Bams. If you look up anything about mold and cleaning sprays, you will see a whole host of people raving. And we're talking about builders and people like that, you know, raving about the benefits of clove oil because it actually kills the spores. So when you get a mold or mildew remover, what it actually is doing is actually just bleaching the stain out. It's not killing the mold spores. So you are getting so much attention. It's not actually killing the mold spores, but the clove oil does. So the clove oil won't necessarily get rid of the stain. So you will have to give it a little bit of a scrub, and some white vinegar and water. I use like a 3-to-2 dilution there. Is going to be absolutely perfect for that. But that's a really, really effective cleaner, and it is so easy to use. So another thing about clove oil as well is we can actually utilize the heat of the oil for soothing our bodies. So it's great to add to something like fractionated coconut oil or a little or virgin coconut oil. Make up a little balm to warm our bodies up for exercise or get those knees working in the morning if you're like me, or to help after exercise as well. And I've made several different balms that have been really beneficial, and people have been like, oh, that does actually work, and I'm like, I told you. So you could just mix some in, apply it, and it's really, really soothing. So really great there. So many different options for its use. So it is very, very versatile. So if you do want to learn more about using essential oils, do check out my blog post, do sign up for my newsletter, because I do put different recipes in there, and do check out the links, and just shout if you want to know anything more. So that is all about clove oil. So let me know. I hope that's filled in any gaps you might have. As always, if you like this, please give me some hearts. Please pop in the comments anything you want to know about, any questions you've got. I would really appreciate it, and it helps me carry on to create more free content for you as well. So I'm going to say have a good evening, and do like this little video or